The day before, we soak the lentils and we can leave them for 24 or 48 hours. Well, we're already on the 5th or 6th day. I watered it on the 2nd day, and I think I also let water run through here on the 4th day. Because here we are in Cordoba, and it's a very dry place where there's a big lack of rain. In Buenos Aires, for example, which is a very humid place, I used to do this same technique, and once I closed it, I wouldn't water again until the harvest. The best thing will always be to use a whole board so nothing gets in. That would be ideal, but if not, how can you still do it perfectly? Look how it's going, thank you. It grew amazingly. And well, that area didn't have the same response. This is possibly because some light came in, and that's also why we see them green. Because if we covered it completely, the first thing we would see when uncovering it would be the shoots in yellow. And what I usually do is leave it uncovered for a day, so that it absorbs as much chlorophyll as possible, turns a nice green, and we can benefit from its antioxidants. And, well, of course, sprouts have all these properties. They're an excellent food, full of fiber, potassium, and magnesium. It's wonderful. What I did here the day before, yesterday, was to put a mesh over it so they could get light and so animals wouldn't step on it to protect the sprouts. No, if I leave everything uncovered, someone could fall in, and the idea is just for them to get light. They're already ready to harvest. Thank you. What I want to show you, which is what I was telling you about, is that with this technique, look at the amount and the size of the sprout. They're more than 10 centimeters. And everything, absolutely everything is tender. The sprout, the stem, it's tender, it's not tough, it's not stringy. This allows us to eat absolutely everything, and besides, the lentil sprout is exquisite. And here I have enough to make more or less 3 salads, and this is done in just a few days. While we're making one whole, we're making another, and that way we always have 3 or 4 wholes in use. What I really do is, sometimes I leave them, I let them grow back again. The lentil grows back again, or I just throw more seeds and repeat the process, so I always have something to harvest. I know you're going to ask me, Dana, why don't I just make a lentil stew, a good lentil stew, and not complicate things so much? Imagine if I'm really going to go through all this process. When I have a good meal in a good lentil stew, and it's true, in a lentil stew we have a good meal, a super hearty and pretty complete meal. But when we do this process, we increase the efficiency of the food. First of all, by sprouting the seed. The lentil is a seed. It loses phytic acid. Phytic acid is an anti-nutrient that not only complicates the absorption of what we're eating, but also everything else we're going to eat then. So by doing this process, by losing the phytic acid, it loses its anti-nutrients. So we're going to digest everything we eat in an amazing way, and we're going to get all the nutrients and minerals. There will be better absorption of all those nutrients, those minerals, those vitamins. When we do this germination process, by eating just a small amount, we get a lot of nutrients that, to get similar amounts, we would have to eat much more. In a lentil stew, in a salad, we are producing a superfood that improves our digestion, makes us feel great, and provides us with a lot of antioxidants. Not only that, but we will also have a lot of nutrients available, because all those that are part of cooking, for example, in a lentil stew, will be available in the sprouts. Now, what's the difference between sprouting them in a bottle, sprouting them in a tray, sprouting them in cloth, and sprouting them this way? Not in the pit. And as I'm sharing with you, when you sprout them, for example, in a bottle or in a tray, the sprout starts to come out. It starts to get stronger, and after it reaches about 2 centimeters, the stem gets harder and stronger because of the process itself, not because of sunlight, etc. And even though the properties are the same, when we do it this way, the whole sprout with its stem included, which grows to almost several centimeters. Everything is tender, so we eat it entirely tender, which is much more pleasant and much tastier. Those antioxidants are formed from chlorophyll. Basically, with the light, the plant absorbs that light energy, and we would be eating the sunlight. And that's why sprouts, microgreens as they're called, are also considered a superfood. They benefit our cells and positively impact our health. However, like everything, sprouts should be eaten in moderation and not be the main part of our diet. While they do make a great contribution to our diet and our eating habits, it's also important to recognize that we are eating a living food. We talk about all these topics in great detail in a video. I'll leave a little card here for anyone interested in watching it, and I'll also leave it at the end of this video. That's all for today. So I send you a big kiss, a warm hug, and see you next time.